Welcome everybody to another BDA podcast, a very special one this time because it's not a BDA midnight podcast. We're recording it in the late hours of the afternoon. I'm here with King Bucho, the second half of the Twitter staff. the BDA staff. He's the one that
I take care of the Twitter, and I'm the mastermind behind the Twitter account.
I wouldn't really say master, but yes, definitely.
I also help out with some of the videos.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's not just. We all contribute a little bit to every aspect of the BDA franchise. We just got finished watching the Anthony Joshua versus Wladimir Klitschko fight, and woo, what a fight. When was the last time we saw a heavyweight fight this exciting with high stakes?
With high stakes, Klitschko
Vitaly Lewis, man.
Vitaly Lewis that was a good fight. Oh, yeah.
Wow, that was a long time ago. 14 years. And this time it was a great fight. Joshua gets it done in the 11th round. He got dropped. He dropped Klitschko himself. He went for it. He opened up the machine. He let his hands go, and he was finally able to take the old lion out of there. At this point, just some of the observations from what I saw in the fight. One of the things that impressed me about Joshua was that he was able to get a second wind in that fight. Let's keep in mind that this is a man who came in at his heaviest ever, Joshua, that is, at 250 pounds. And I gotta tell you, when he was struggling in there after he got dropped, I was thinking, man, is he gonna be able to last? Is he gonna be able to go the distance? Is he gonna crumble under his own weight? And well, he surprised us. He showed that he was in good condition.
Yeah, he was in very good condition. But let's be honest, he was tired as fuck. After the third round, he was really tired. And thankfully for him, Klitschko was also very tired. So it kind of balanced itself out. But if Joshua fights somebody that has stamina, he can last 12 rounds, it's going to be very tough for him and very difficult.
Yes, we're going to get into that later on. Still, good on Joshua for showing decent stamina. You look at the size of his arms. Those are bodybuilder arms. To be able to carry those arms throughout 12 rounds and to be able to throw punches and receive punches. He surprised me in there. He showed some great stamina. Now I'm thinking maybe some people are going to start saying that, he's on something, right? He's on some special Memo Heredia formula because a big guy like that can't go 12 rounds. Well, he just showed he could.
Well, yeah, he went 12 rounds, but in what fashion?
Exactly, yes. That's a good point. That's a very good point. It wasn't Aikibe Abuchi David 2 in there. They weren't throwing 80 punches, 70 punches around. It was also interesting here that Joshua, he's got a pretty good defense because he adapted in the middle portion. After the middle portion of the fight, he started to move his hands more, his head more. He started to make Klitschko miss with that right hand, which before was landing. He bobbed and weaved under the left hooks from Klitschko. So he really showed some improved defense in there. And then the other thing that I liked and that we both liked about this is that Joshua went for it. The fight was close. Both guys were dropped. It's a high stakes fight. And he went for it, man. He opened up in the 11th round and dropped Wladimir Klitschko 2 times and then pinned him on the ropes and just let his hands go until the ref stopped the fight. What did you think about Joshua and his ability?
I liked his mentality. He has a mentality of a champion, of a young champion that actually has the balls to get into the ring and not only try to win the fight, but try to destroy his opponent. Try to destroy the old man. Take that torch, take that crown. And that's exactly what Joshua did. And I was very surprised because nowadays, these boxers with this mentality of hit and not get hit, skills, skills pays the bills and all that crap. They just go in there and try to win in a boring fashion. And then they expect all this fame to come in to drop from, from the sky. Yeah, from the sky, just like that. Like, it doesn't work that way. This is prize fighting. Joshua is obviously very popular in the UK, and with this type of performance, he's now even a bigger star, and he earned it by going into the trenches and killing the king.
Well, the ex-former king, but let's just jump right into it, man. What's next for Joshua is exactly what you just said, that he's shown to be an entertaining fighter. He let his hands go. That's what boxing needs. That's what the heavyweight division has always needed. A big guy, but who lets his hands go. And he's a little vulnerable, but you know what? He's vulnerable because he lets his hands go in there. And that's what the heavyweight division needs now. At this point, he filled up the arena, at Wembley Stadium. He's got some good lineup of opponents in front of him. The world is his oyster right now.
And this was a memorable fight. It wasn't just that, he beat Klitschko in the Wembley Stadium, 90,000 people. Okay, we'll forget. I mean, we'll just remember this fight. We'll remember this as an event. No, we'll remember this as a fight. A fight that will be remembered throughout history as one of those great heavyweight fights.
Exactly, and what I always point out, a fight between two big guys, because you seldom see two giants like those guys really letting their hands go and creating this type of drama. I mean, there weren't any exchanges in the fight. It was just the fact that one guy gets dropped and the other guy shifts in momentum. That's what makes great fights. And I tell you something right now, with Klitschko, gotta give him credit. He really stood up to some of the fire in there. He let his hands go. He showed that he was able to compete against another big guy, because the criticism going in was that he always won because he was bigger and stronger. Well, now he was in certain spots, he was outboxing Fury. But I tell you something else. With Wladimir Klitschko, I'll give him credit. But as I was watching him outbox Fury in certain spots, I'm thinking, this Wladimir Klitschko would have beaten Deontay Wilder.
This Klitschko, yes. Absolutely, of course.
Yeah, because I mean...
unless Wilder managed to land a huge power punch, and then who knows. But yeah, no, in theory, yes, Klitschko he's just better in every aspect.
Mm-hmm. He's able to move his head, sometimes he leans back a little too much, but he was moving his head sideways in this one. He was able to control the distance, sometimes pop that jab. Wilder, that's what I'm saying, if he couldn't find his way inside against Washington, that former football player that he just knocked out, how would he be able to outbox
Klitschko? He went 12 rounds with Steve Hearn.
He went over.
So, that power is there, but not always there. So...
you can't always count on power to bail you out.
No, exactly. And when it doesn't, then what happens? I mean... So, yeah, no. Definitely Klitschko is better than Wilder. Klitschko would have beaten Wilder. Let's just see Wilder-Joshua. Get this over with. Get
Wilder-Joshua, yeah, just make it happen. Because Fury, he's gonna need some time to get back into shape.
Yeah, he's gonna need also some fights.
Yeah. He's a guy who relies on reflexes and defense and movement, and that doesn't come back right away. It doesn't matter if you're one of the greatest gypsy fighters of all time. Yeah. You still need a couple of fights to get that rust out of you. But Wilder-Joshua would be great. For a couple of reasons. Mainly it's because it's still two giants in there, even though Wilder isn't as imposing look-wise, physically, as Joshua, but he's still a giant. Mm-hmm. He packs a punch, and the thing is, he's more mentally unhinged than Joshua. Joshua, you've seen him get into altercations with Brazil and Dylan White, they hated each other. But Wilder, it's almost like he always finds a way to get into a barking match with each of his opponents, against Steve Hearn, against Spilka. Then he got into an altercation with Brazil outside of the
his
ring.
Family or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's alleged. We should say allegedly, because we don't really know if it's true or not. But there are multiple eyewitnesses accounts out there that say that yes, that is indeed what happened. And but I mean, the build-up for that fight.
Yeah.
For Joshua Wilder.
It would be huge.
And if it happened in Madison Square Garden, that side of all the legendary.
Should it happen in the United States? It's still, because the UK, I mean, they could do this at Wembley also, again, probably. But still, the United States is still that the mecca of boxing.
That's a good point, because where else has Wilder drawn big numbers in the United States? Outside of Alabama. But outside of Alabama. Which brings up another point, that if this fight were indeed to happen, they're going to haggle over the numbers, because Joshua is going to say, "Oh, look at how many people came to see me in England. How many of them regularly see me? How much was
belts? He has two belts. He has
2 belts. Meanwhile, he's going to say, Wilder, what can you fill up? Can you fill up your living room?"
Yeah, but then again, maybe Joshua wants to fight in Las Vegas, in New York, because he knows that's where the biggest fights have taken place throughout history. So maybe he wants to be part of that historical content.
Yeah. Let's put aside all this about the negotiation aspects and all that. If the fight happens, Wilder, they don't really need to get Wilder to become a bigger name in the United States, because just the fact that you have two giants who are undefeated, that's gonna sell itself in the United States. It would sell out in Las Vegas, it would sell out in New York, anywhere it would sell out. Because yes, Wilder is not a mainstream star here, But like every time you take one big name or two big names or B names or whatever, and especially heavyweights who are undefeated, hit hard, the event makes itself. It's gonna be that's gonna be a great event. There's also a lot of other names out there. There's Luis Ortiz, who is the black horse.
Who is a mandatory for Klitschko, for Tyson, Jesus Christ. He's a mandatory for Anthony Joshua for the WBA belt. So, yeah, that's a fight that has to happen. Ortiz, from what I've read, he said that he will not take any step-aside fees. He wants to fight the winner of Klitschko, Joshua, which is obviously Joshua. So that's
that's still to be determined.
Yeah, but that's...
I'm kidding. Obviously, Klitschko will lose. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying you never know. I mean,
well, that's
he might giving a big fee. You'll fight in the undercard. He might take that, but who knows, man?
Yeah,
but he's 38 years old. I think Luis Ortiz knows his time is running out.
Yeah, he knows. He's definitely not a ring on that who's just looking to make it an easy night in there. And just, I mean, he really wants that fight. And, he's got a family too. Listen, remember, these guys, they have families to feed. They want to secure their family's future. The time is now to get that big payday. Because again, you never know. Heavyweight division, it could all end with one punch. He goes in there against a guy who might not be as good as him or as the other guys, but if he eats that one punch, it's all over for him. Who else is out there for him? Well, listen, Tyson Fury. I wanted to talk about this. People now are going to compare Joshua's performance against Klitschko and with Tyson Fury's. Fury, like you told me before something that was interesting, that this fight has overshadowed Fury's own win over Klitschko.
Yes.
Because, like you said, he went for it. Joshua did. He went for the knockout.
Yeah. Because of the whole way, the fight was exciting. They exchanged knockdowns. It happened at Wembley Stadium. So this fight definitely has overshadowed that old fight from almost 2 years ago. And that's what happens now. Fury's now in the shadows and Joshua's in the light.
But that's the thing. See, Joshua, rightfully so, he should be in the limelight now because he just got off the biggest win of his career so far. And an entertaining one at that. But, I mean, you compare to both guys' performances. Yes, Joshua stopped Klitschko and he hit him a lot. But you look at the Fury fight against Klitschko. It was boring. It was awkward. But he didn't get hit as much as Fury did. Fury has underrated defense. He rolls with the shots. He's able to move herky-jerky style. And one of the things I love that he did against Klitschko is he out-feinted the feinter. That's the thing you got to do against Klitschko. Joshua today, he would have been well served to add a couple of feints in there. He was lucky that he was able to reach Klitschko just by throwing the shots. But a couple of feints, because see, Klitschko is a type of herky-jerky fighter. He's very jittery. He's always jittery like Mosley. So what do you do with a guy like that? You feint him and he reacts. You feint him again, he reacts. You jab, he reacts. So by the time you've done 3 feints and 1 jab, he's already on the other side of the ropes. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's what Joshua should have done. Still, what I'm saying is that Fury has more craft than Joshua when it comes to defense and ring generalship. And Joshua has... And speed? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, because Joshua has good hands before a guy his size. But Tyson Fury, he has that type of... How would you characterize his hand speed as compared to Joshua's?
How would I characterize?
Because Fury doesn't put his whole body into his shots. He's more like I wouldn't say they're arm punches, but he'll jab, he'll throw an up jab, and then the right hand, he won't turn it over completely. It's almost like Chris Bird a little bit, not all that much, but the fact that he's not putting that much into his shots means he can get off quicker.
Yeah.
That's his game. He's pop, a couple of points here.
Yeah, but he can throw in some hard punches.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So now that you look at that, so we've established that in our minds, Fury would take care of Wilder. Wilder doesn't have a good chin. He's been wobbled. I forget the guy. I would give him a shout out, but there was a guy in Twitter who put a link to one of Wilder's amateur fights, and he got knocked out. Well, not out completely, out cold, but he got dropped and he was on wobbly legs.
Well, remember that sparring video between David Kay and Wilder? Jesus Christ.
And then who was also was it the French guy or Molina who wobbled him? Oh, I don't know if it was a French guy.
It was Molina. Yeah,
it was Molina. Right. So, look, Wilder can be hit. Let's not make it out to be as if he's always on his toes like Tommy Hearns.
No, his chin is very questionable. Mm-hmm. His technique has been We know what his technique is. It's been exposed. He has no
what
technique.
it's not.
What it's not. There's no technique.
There's
And
no
people are
tech-
gonna hate and they're gonna, Wilder, why you give him some credit? No, he's exciting. I would
No,
say.
absolutely.
Well, not his against Washington. That was a boring fight. But I mean, yeah, the guy's exciting. I will watch his fights. You never know. He's gonna knock out his opponent, and he might not. There's some sort of excitement there, but let's be honest here. He has no technique at all. Especially when you compare him to Anthony Joshua and Wladimir Klitschko, he's not at that level. And also Tyson Fury, by the way.
Yeah, Tyson. No, but the thing that I always say about Wilder is that there's always guys like this in boxing. There are guys that they're never gonna make it world class level. They're never gonna win a championship. They're never gonna get into the Hall of Fame, but they have one quality that is world class. I'll give you an example. Mickey Ward. He didn't have very good defense. He didn't have very good technique or hand speed, but that left hook of his, that was world class. That was a world class. Every time he fought somebody, it didn't matter if they excelled in their sport or if they were just below him in level. No, he was always able to hurt guys with that left hook. It was a Julio Cesar Chavez type of hook with that same power and intensity. Wilder is the same way. He lacks technique. He lacks hand speed, but that right hand, it's straight out of the Tommy Hearns playbook. He throws it perfectly, that right hand. Yeah, maybe the left hand is low when he throws it and he's off bound, but
He has that wiry power.
he has that wiry power, man. So that can bail him out. But I just wanted to make that point about Wilder, that, man, say what you want about him, but that right hand it's a killer. But now, how would a Fury Joshua fight go? Because we've just established that Fury has a different style than Klitschko. He doesn't hit as hard as Klitschko, but he also rolls better with the shots. He's not as scared as
I
Klitschko.
believe he has better stamina than
yes.
Joshua. So that could be a big factor. Imagine if the fight goes past the sixth, Tyson Fury's dancing around, jabbing, moving, and then Joshua starts getting tired. That could be a big problem.
And that's the thing, because the difference between Vladimir and Tyson Fury is that when Joshua would throw the 1-2 in this fight, Vladimir would just overextend his arms, and his shoulders would go up to his chin, and that would deflect the 1-2 sort of the left hook from that Joshua's left hook. Fury, what he does is he actually rolls with the right hand. So ultimately he's in a position to counter, whereas Klitschko isn't. So if Tyson Fury is able to watch Fury and maybe tire him out with a couple of those, by making him miss with those right hands, he could come back with a right hand of his own. Also, the other thing is, how would Joshua react to Fury's feints? Because here Klitschko wasn't really feinting a lot, and he was still able to find some openings with his big right hand. And Joshua, would he get tired from those feints? I mean, there's a lot of questions in there. I think that at the end of the day, Fury presents a different challenge than Vladimir. And perhaps even a bigger challenge, I would say, because of that style.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think that Joshua's defense is more porous, if you could say that. Klitschko, if you watch the Klitschko Fury fight, Klitschko would, like you said, he would extend his arms, he would push his head back, he would lean back, basically, and that was his whole defense. Joshua's defense is more of a little bit of head movement, but he also just keeps his hands high. That's what he did today against Klitschko, and some punches went actually past his guard, so I wouldn't be surprised if Fury hits him with more ease.
Especially since Fury doesn't, like I said, he doesn't put everything into his shots, so if he can peck and wood here and there, wooden peck here and there, he can feint, extend his arms, and then pop up little shots that he doesn't overextend his arms too much, or he doesn't put everything into it. He can tag Joshua, and those type of punches can add up eventually. The other thing about Joshua was that if you look at our film analysis that we did for the Wladimir Klitschko Fury fight, you can see that for Joshua Vladimir fight, you can see that Joshua was countering against Brazil, against Dylan White, against these other guys. He could counter over their jabs or he could counter the right hand with his own left hook. This time he tried, and it wasn't as effective. Why wasn't it as effective? Because again, Vladimir's defense, he's got those outstretched arms, so the punches, they can't get through over those arms. And even if they get past the arm and the shoulder, Vladimir has he's leaning back, so his chin is even more overextended. You can't reach him. But he did show good timing in this fight. You watch the fight again. When Vladimir would jab, he would try to Joshua would try to counter with the right hand. He would move to the side, counter right hand, but he just couldn't get it in. Against Fury,
But at some point, Joshua stopped doing some head movement. By the way,
at one point,
in the fight,
uh-huh.
Joshua stopped moving his head.
Yeah, I got what you said, but which point?
Which point? I was around like 7, 8, 9 after the knockdown. You even said it. You said it.
I said after the knockdown, there were 2 rounds where he stopped moving, and then he started again weaving under the hooks.
Why did he stop moving his head?
I don't know. I think, like we said during the fight, we noted that the guy really looked after he dropped Klitschko, and then he got dropped himself. It seemed like his stamina just went out the window, and that's when, remember that round where he actually went on the defensive? Yeah. That's when he was picking up that second. Yes. He was getting ready to pick, but yeah, it was in that round.
His defense is not consistent.
Nah, especially when they.
Sorry, but that combined with his stamina issues, he's an open target. He can be an open target at some point in a fight. So that's why I give Fury a big chance. I know we're talking about, but I give Fury a big chance of beating.
Well, like Joshua. They say, when the legs go, everything else goes. And in this fight, because you saw when after he got dropped, he was leaning back against the ropes. He was almost as if the ropes weren't there, it's almost as if he would have fallen down. But then he picked up the second win. But like you said, you said he's got stamina issues. Somebody's gonna have to press him in order to get him that tired, because we saw against Brazil. Brazil was just a punching bag in there. And Joshua didn't look all that tired. Dylan White pushed him, and he got tired. So what I'm saying is somebody's going to have to take a chance in there and walk through Joshua's fire. Otherwise, he's going to be able to box from the distance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And again, the heavyweight division, it's a landscape out there. There's a whole other type of guys out there. Joseph Parker, like we said, Luis Ortiz, there's Steve Earn, there's Povetkin.
Steve Earn, yeah.
But I mean, Steve Earn, listen, I'm just throwing out the names. There's Jared Baby Miller, who is another up-and-coming fighter. So like we said, a lot of names. If you want to know more about heavyweight division, check out the video that King Bucho made. What was the title of the video again? Plug it.
It's called... Holy shit, what the fuck?
That's how organized we are here at VDA. Well, wait a minute, that's how drunk you are. No, we did a video called the Heavyweight Landscape, or the State of the Heavyweight Division.
Explaining the Heavyweight Division.
Explaining, that's that one. Explaining the Heavyweight Division. And just take a look at it if you're not familiar with the Heavyweight Division. And if you are anyway, take a look at it. It's a fun video to recap what's going on out there at the Heavyweight Division. Good for Anthony Joshua getting that big win. Good for Wladimir Klitschko for showing balls. And this guy, you know what, Klitschko? One last thing about Klitschko. When he got knocked out by Lemon Brewster, and remember he fought, what was the name of that other guy he fought? Davaro Williamson. And he got dropped in that fight, but then they headbutted each other. It was in Showtime in 2005, I remember. And that fight, it ended on a no contest, but he was looking bad in that fight, Vladimir. And after that fight, we were saying, oh, well, listen, he's done. But he came back. And in this fight, he tried to come back, and he really showed some courage, Wladimir Klitschko. So I gave him major props for this one. He finally, he made me a bit of a fan tonight, I have to say.
He found redemption.
And boxing, you don't always get redemption. You don't always end your career in your terms. Just look at Bernard Hopkins recently. But good for him. Check out that Boxing Heavyweights Explained, the video we did. We'll be back with more content, as always, to entertain you guys. Leave some comments, subscribe, tell us what you think, tell us what we got right, what we got wrong, and we will see you on the next one.